Starbucks is a stock that's been sold off in 2024. It's down 22%. This is the number one premium coffee restaurant in the country. I like coffee with regards to profitability. If you think about the complexity of making a good cup of coffee, it involves grinding beans, using hot water, and then yielding a really good cup of coffee. Starbucks does much more than that. They sell a variety of premium drinks. They'll mix up a delicious beverage and charge you $8, $9 for it at the same time. They also sell food in their restaurants as well, but it's usually somewhat prepared food that is then served in the restaurant. So their cost model I really like. If you compare Starbucks to a McDonald's or something else, I think the Starbucks model is far more profitable. So I really like that about them. I also like that they are the dominant brand. Something about the top player in an industry says a lot about a company. First, they got to be number one because they did something right. They probably did a lot of things right. They also got there because customers like them. They want to go back and buy more of their product or services. And that's certainly the case for Starbucks. Now, I began to get interested in this stock when it sold off. When a great company gets sold off, it might be an opportunity to come in and buy some shares and see those shares go up in value. I'd like to analyze Starbucks. They announced their earnings last week. I have a fresh set of financials, and I can go through my process and see if I think Starbucks is discounted, fairly priced, or being sold at a premium. That'll affect my decision with the stock. I'm currently a stockholder of Starbucks. I own shares. So I have to decide whether to hold my shares or sell my shares. So I'll share that conclusion with you at the end of this video. So Starbucks is a pretty big restaurant, $83 billion in market cap. They have 36 billion in sales, which makes them a pretty big operation. They pay a nice dividend at 3%, so income investors are probably liking Starbucks. A variety of analysts cover them. They're saying, hey, Starbucks is a buy, and they're discounted by 23%. Let's see what I end up calculating for this stock. Financials for the company, historically, they've just been a great growing company, growing year after year. The COVID year, I'll give them a pass. We had COVID, social distancing, and all that good stuff. But years since, they've been growing nicely. This is a big operation. So when they grow 2 3%, that's huge sales growth compared to a small restaurant company. Overall, they produce really good free cash flow, and they did not disappoint in the trailing 12 months, producing really good free cash flow for the company. The most valuable companies on the stock market produce free cash flow, and Starbucks produces really good free cash flow. So that looks good. I'll use free cash flow for my valuation. I also use the earnings per share. Looking at a forecast for Starbucks, 20 analysts cover the stock, so plenty of exposure for the Starbucks stock, and their average price target is 23.5% above the current average price. Very good to know. Their earnings per share for this year, 2024, is expected to be $3.67. It's also expected to keep growing in the future. Very nice, very good forecast. So I'll use those numbers in my valuation because I value based on free cash flow and based on earnings per share. Starbucks is another American success story. Somebody who really liked coffee, had an experience in Italy that he wanted to replicate here in the US, started Starbucks a long time ago and really grew the company. Their stock has really risen. If you bought the stock way back when, you'd be a happy camper. You would have really multiplied your money times a particular factor. But recently, in the past year, you've seen the stock really come down and you've seen the stock sell off. In fact, just in the last 9 months or so, stock's down 31%. This is a really good company. So when I see a discount like that, I get really interested. Is this a good buying opportunity? How desirable do I think the Starbucks business is? Well, I like buying companies in this green quadrant. They have strong, wide moats, almost a monopoly. They get to control the amount of revenue they sell. They have lots of demand for their product or their service, and they get to control their margins and produce really high free cash flow. Those companies that fit into that green typically are the most valuable companies or will be one of the most valuable companies on the stock market. Starbucks has a lot of advantages to it. I really like that the brand is recognized pretty much ubiquitously in the US and even internationally. They have a really good network model and network strength. Their brand is awesome. I also like their profitability. And I think it's hard. Other businesses have tried to compete against Starbucks like McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, but no one's really come close. So I'm going to put Starbucks somewhat between the gray, which is a business that competes with other restaurants, and the green, which says, hey, they are like other restaurants, but different and better. And they have certain characteristics that are very, very competitive and will keep competitors away. Let's face it, for a premium cup of coffee, Starbucks is the place to go versus the other companies. I also like their model. I also like one thing I didn't mention is the member program where people have an app on the Starbucks. They download the Starbucks app on their phones, they load it with credits, and they buy their Starbucks. And they have a very good loyalty program. That is awesome. If you look at their balance sheet, you see how much cash they hold for those customers. Most customers have that app downloaded. I certainly do, and so does my wife. I ran a valuation on Starbucks to arrive at a stock price that I think the company is worth based on free cash flows as well as earnings per share. Based on free cash flows, if I use their first 3 quarters of their current year, then annualize it, I get an 18% discount on the stock. That's a good discount on a very good company. And if I use earnings per share, coincidentally, I get the same discount level using their earnings per share that I expect, the PE of 22 and a growth rate of 8%. So the discount average and blended discount is 18%. On a quality company, one shouldn't expect to get a outrageous discount. You're getting a quality company. Even paying a fair price for a company you want to be a part of is a good idea. An 18% discount is respectable, and I'll consider that as I make my decision to buy more shares, hold, or just sell my shares of Starbucks. So should I buy, hold, or sell Starbucks? Let's take a look. So first, the company. Do I like the company? Do I want to be a part owner? Do I think this company really is going to have longevity and be worth a lot more money in the future? The answer is yes. I really like the business. I think selling premium coffee is very profitable. I like their brand. I like that Starbucks is recognized pretty much everywhere. I also like their membership program, their loyalty and rewards program. That's really good. I bet you they can do a lot of marketing and programs to really generate more income and really keep that loyalty up for Starbucks. The balance sheet's in great shape. Their debt to EBITDA is really low. I believe it's 1. It's very low. I want it to be less than 3. And the discount's very respectable at 18%. I also like that dividend. I'm not a big income investor, but I like that they're paying out a nice dividend. It makes it an attractive stock. Overall, I like the discount. I love the company. So I'm going to keep buying shares of Starbucks, really build up a nice position. I like having really top companies, and Starbucks is clearly the number one player in premium coffee restaurants. I'd love to have them be a nice, sizable position in my portfolio. So that's my video on Starbucks. I hope you found it interesting. Keep in mind, I'm an individual investor. I'm just sharing my experience. I'm not recommending you buy, hold, or sell Starbucks. Please make your decisions independent of this video. Thanks again for watching. Good luck investing in 2024.